What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to your favorite YouTube channel. Now, if you're just joining me, if you did not see episode 1 that I just posted on my YouTube channel a little while ago, let me quickly give you an overview. I am back after about 3 weeks absence from my YouTube channel. I was trying to come up with some new things I wanted to do. I was thinking about trying to come up with a better place to film the videos. As you see, I'm in a different place in my house. I'm no longer sitting at the dining room table. Anyway, so I am back, and I have started Troy's Thursday Talks here on my YouTube channel. Now, as I said in my episode 1, Troy's Thursday Talks was a very popular segment I used to do on Facebook. I used to go live, and people would join in the conversation, and I would touch on things from like movies to sports to political situations that were going on in our world, things of that nature. And I decided to bring Troy's Thursday Talks back because I do want to start a podcast eventually. I have downloaded the app today to look into how to start a podcast as a little more detailed. But just know that in the coming weeks, months, whatever, there will be an official podcast, Troy's Thursday Talks. They'll be every Thursday. But for now, I'm going to do them on YouTube. I'm going to try to keep them somewhere in the 25 to 35 minute long range. Now, if I end up doing an official podcast, I could probably go on for a little longer. But I don't want to, go on too long in these videos because, I know when you're watching on YouTube, it's a lot harder to, just listen than you would in a podcast. But I still also will do Troy's Top 5 and other things like that, which will be smaller little videos, quick ones, keep those in the shorter range. These I will go on and really give you guys my thoughts. The first one I did was called Troy's Thursday Talks, Episode 1, The History of Us. It was about an article about the lack of interest in the history of the United States, especially the Civil War, and it was kind of a little political piece, and I kind of, it was a lot heavier of a topic that I went through. This one would be much lighter. This is episode 2 of Troy's Thursday Talks, entitled Battison in the Future of the DC Film Universe. Battison, of course, referring to Robert Pattinson casted as Batman. That is one of the names going around the internet that people are calling him Battison. And as you see, anybody who knows me knows I'm a huge Batman fan. And if it's your first time seeing me and you didn't know that, I am a huge Batman fan. I'm rocking my Straight Outta Gotham t-shirt here that I got at Comic-Con, New York City Comic-Con 2018. And if you see right here, I got my boy Batman right here with me. He's missing an arm. I always say it's because he lost it in a fight with the Joker. But the real story is that my aunt who got it for me dropped it upon delivering it to me, and he lost an arm. But I think it sounds much cooler when I say that he lost it fighting the Joker. Anyway, so let's get right into it. Troy's Thursday Talks. It is Thursday, June 6th. This is episode 2. Battison in the Future of DC Films. If you did not know, major news was announced recently that Robert Pattinson was casted as the new Batman. He will now be playing Batman in a trilogy of movies that will be directed by Matt Reeves. So, first and foremost, when I found out about Pattinson, I was not mad, nor was I excited. I was very just like, wow. I just couldn't believe it. I did not expect Robert Pattinson to be casted as Batman. It took me by surprise. I was not against it. I haven't seen much of Pattinson's work. Obviously, I've seen the Twilight movies, and people, of course, on the internet, the negative backlash came for him hard. All the sparkly Batman jokes and all that stuff like that, they came for him pretty quickly. But it's 2019, it's the internet, and they come for anybody all the time, and especially people who are casted as Batman. I mean, you can go back to 2013 when Affleck was cast as Batman, and they let him have it. And Affleck, all in all, did an okay job with his Batman portrayal. I have no complaints, really, with Ben Affleck himself. Now, the situation around the DC movies is a little different, but with Affleck himself, I don't really have much of an issue with. Even if you go back 30 years, now, this is before the internet was really, a thing like it is today, but, back in 1989, when Michael Keaton was casted as Batman, he was also super criticized and ridiculed. People didn't think the guy from Beetlejuice could actually pull off being Batman, and he's arguably to this day one of the best Batman. If you ask anybody, they'll tell you that he's probably, I would say, besides him, Bale, they're probably the top two, people would say, usually, for live action interpretations. Nobody tops Kevin Conroy, the voice of Batman from the animated series, and plenty of other things. But yeah, so back to Robert Pattinson. He was casted as Batman. Now, he was one of the main candidates for the role, along with Nicholas Hoult. They were the two frontrunners, the final two. Nicholas Hoult has been in... he was just recently in Tolkien. He was the lead in the movie Tolkien about the author Tolkien, and then also he played Beast in the X-Men films. Now, out of the two of them, I think that Pattinson has more of a Batman vibe to him than Holt does. So I think they made a choice there. They said the other two choices that were popular were Armie Hammer and Aaron Taylor Johnson. Johnson was Quicksilver in Avengers: Age of Ultron, and he was also Kick-Ass in the two Kick-Ass movies. Armie Hammer played in the Lone Ranger with Johnny Depp, and he was also in the movie called The Man from U.N.C.L.E. with Henry Cavill. It was a spy film that came out a few years back. Funny enough, Armie Hammer was casted as Batman over a decade ago, around the same time that they were doing the Christopher Nolan, Christian Bale Dark Knight trilogy for Batman. Warner Brothers had allowed George Miller to... They gave him the rights to direct a Justice League movie. There was going to be a movie called Justice League Mortal, and Armie Hammer was casted as Batman. They had suits. They had taken pictures already. There was a script. I mean, there was all these different things. But then there was a writer's strike in Hollywood. I forget which year, but it was the late 2000s. And there was a writer's strike, and they were trying to redo the script, and the script got postponed, pushed back. Production of the movie never really fully started. They had started pre-production, I think, but they never really started, shooting or anything like that. Got pushed off, and then of course, the $1 billion Batman happened. The Dark Knight became a $1 billion movie for Warner Brothers and DC, their DC property. And I think that at that time, they were thinking, do we really want to compete with our $1 billion Batman and have two Batmen in live action at the same time? And eventually, Justice League Mortal fell apart, and that was the end of that. So Armie Hammer was a lot of fans, a lot of people on the internet really wanted to see him get recasted or get recasted in this role, to kind of fulfill something that they missed out on over a decade ago. I wasn't one of them. I didn't even know about Justice League Mortal until I think it's still right before it was canceled. I didn't know it was even a thing until, because at the time I was all about the Dark Knight trilogy, so I didn't even realize that it was actually something that was going on, with Warner Brothers until a little later on. But it didn't pan out. That is what it is. But that's neither here nor there. So Pattinson beats all these guys out. He is now our official Batman. And people start asking, is he good? Is he a good actor? Is he a good fit? Now, I haven't seen much of Pattinson's work, but the people I trust and follow, on social media, or I watch on YouTube, or the articles I read from their pages, they've said good things about Robert Pattinson. They said that since Twilight ended, he's done a very good job of continuing his career and making a lot of good indie films, and he's done a fantastic job in these roles. They mentioned movies like Good Time, High Life, Lost City of Z, and so on. These are films that, just to name a few, that they said Pattinson has done a fantastic job in, and he's really shown his growth as an actor. So my job as a Batman fan, as a film fan, as a movie fan, whatever you want to call it, I need to, watch these movies and really, try to formulate an opinion on Pattinson. Because right now I really don't have one. But I'm open-minded, and I'm all for it. Again, like I said, people were against Keaton. People were against Affleck. People were super against Heath Ledger as a Joker. And look at that. So, I don't want to make any, judgments or predictions off of, not being well-informed enough. I'm excited because it's a Batman movie. I'm excited for it. I personally believe, more than anything, that it comes down to the director, the writing of the script, the direction they want to go with this movie, this character. That to me is more important than the actor. I know that sounds crazy, but name a Batman movie that was bad because of the actor. The bad Batman movies have been bad because of bad writing, bad directing, bad production, and maybe actors on top of it too. But it wasn't like Batman and Robin wasn't a bad movie because of George Clooney. No, it wasn't. It just wasn't. It was bad because Joel Schumacher made it a cartoon in live action, and there was stupid, silly puns all throughout the movie, and bat nipples, and all kinds of other stupid stuff in that movie. It wasn't George Clooney's fault. Justice League wasn't a mess because of Ben Affleck. Ben Affleck did the best of what he did. I actually very much enjoyed Ben Affleck in Batman vs Superman. I think Batman vs Superman is actually a good film. And the Ultimate Edition is much better than the theatrical release. But I do believe that Ben Affleck I think Ben did a great job in BVS. It was one of the best parts of the movie. Now, Justice League, they kind of ruined his character. I mean, they had set this guy up over here in BVS, and they wanted to tell, I get changed him a little bit, maybe, but they really took it from here and went way over here, like off my screen. Actually, is where they went with him. I mean, he started making jokes after Superman tossed him around. I'm sorry, no, that's not my Batman. That's bad writing, though. Justice League was a mess because there was too many hands in the cookie jar. Too many guys had control. The studio, and then Joss Whedon and Zack Snyder and this one and that one. You never knew who was in control of it. The tone was all over the place. So that I don't blame Ben Affleck for that. You understand? So it's all about, to me, the writing, the directing, and the production. And then obviously, yes, the acting is obviously very crucial. But I think you could do a fine enough job as Batman. But as long as you're written well, you could really do a great job. And I truly believe that. Which leads to Matt Reeves, who is the director of the Batman and the trilogy that they're making. He is a pretty well-known director, most notably recently for his Planet of the Apes movies. He did 2 of them. He is the director of the movie, and he did recently release some information about the movie after they released the Battison was casted. He said that Batman is going to be around 30 years old. He is not going to be. It's not going to be an origin story, so we're not going to have to see Bruce Wayne's parents get killed in the alley and then him donning the cape and cowl for the first time. But it's also not going to be a grizzled older Batman who is the defender of Gotham, who is really running the show. He's going to be a very fresh Batman still. I'm assuming he's going to be in year 2 or year 3 of Batman. If he's in this 3rd year of Batman, I imagine he'll be early in year 3. But I say somewhere in that he'll be Batman for about 2 to 3 years at this point. I'm going to guess. I don't think it'd be anything more than 3. Because they're saying he's still learning to grasp to become the master detective that he is in the description. So I feel like that means that he's been Batman for maybe about 2 years possibly. So he has these rogues. Some of his rogues exist, but all of them maybe don't exist yet. I think I read somewhere that they said the Joker he has not yet faced the Joker as Batman yet. So that's it's very interesting to see how they're going to go forward with that. I like the idea of making him around 30 years old. I think it's smart. I think it's different. You look at Bale's Batman. Bale was actually a year younger than Pattinson when he was casted to play Batman, and they did an origin story with Bale. His origin story was the Ra's al Ghul story. They incorporated the Scarecrow in it, and then The Dark Knight was the sequel to it, which is supposed to be about a year later after Batman's heroics from Batman Begins, and then The Dark Knight Rises is, I think they said, 7 years after The Dark Knight, I think. But you think that he didn't spend much time as Batman, so you don't really get that as much lore. And then you look at someone like Affleck's Batman. Affleck's Batman was supposed to be Batman for about 20 years, so he had 20 years of history. So he had a full history with probably all his villains. He already had a Robin, which we didn't, all this stuff. So which I like that too, because as a Batman fan, there are plenty of great stories of Batman being older. I would love to see Nightwing in live action, but first you have to have a Robin. So if you have an older Batman, you can do that. Or Red Hood, so on and so forth. But that didn't work out because they went their different direction. But I like the fact that he's 30, because it means he's not really, rookie Batman, but he's still not the Batman that we really know. He's still doesn't have it all together yet. But I'm really happy that they're doing a detective film. Matt Reeves has said before that he really wanted to make a noir driven detective film that was going to be, very, focused on this character of Batman and him going through this, figuring out a crime. I'm assuming figuring out a crime, and being a detective to try to figure this out, which is very exciting because Batman is the world's greatest detective. He is. That's his tagline. He's also one of the best, if not the best, tactician in the DC universe. I mean, the man's always well prepared. He's always, you give him prep time, and it's a wrap. He has a plan for everything. He has a backup for the backup for the backup for the backup, and that's to be interesting to see. They said that this guy's still learning, still getting his feet wet, if you will, to really master that. So it should be cool to see. I think by the end of the film, we should feel like that he's now the world's greatest detective. I think that's how you should lead the film. Like, oh man, that was we watch him go from like Batman to the Batman, if that makes any sense. So it's very exciting. They mentioned some of the villains that might be in it. Now I've heard they want to do multiple rogues from his gallery, but the two names that keep popping up the most I hear the rumors are Catwoman and Penguin. Now again, that's not confirmed. That is just speculation, but I keep hearing them over and over. I don't mind that. I don't mind Catwoman and Penguin. That's fine with me. But I think if I really wanted a detective story, I would love to see the Riddler as a villain, personally, because I think that he can challenge Batman mentally almost better than any other foe. Maybe even something like the Mad Hatter would be really cool. Now, it's hard to kind of see the Mad Hatter be the main villain, but it'd be kind of cool to see him in the movie, maybe some kind of segment where Batman, almost like if you're playing a video game and you're trying to, you're going through missions, and each little mission, and you ultimately end with the big boss, So we'll see how I'm sure. I think they start filming, I heard, towards the end of summer. I think they said August. They're filming it in England, so we should start getting news about casting and who these people are going to portray, going forward, and that's very exciting to me. It's always fun as a Batman fan to see it in live action and stuff. But my only drawback, my only fear, my only sad thing about this whole situation is that they're pretty much hinting at the fact that this movie will not be a part of the current DC EU, or whatever they're calling it these days, the current film slate. Now, if you followed along, if you watch the DC movies, or you watch movies, or you know anything about the comic movies, you know that DC started their own film universe with Man of Steel, and then it was Batman vs Superman, Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Justice League, Aquaman, and then Shazam. And it's been all over the place. Man of Steel did fine. People were a little divisive on it. Batman vs Superman made a lot of money, but people were very divided on the film. Suicide Squad made a lot of money, but most people didn't like it. They liked things from it, like Margaret Robbie's Harley Quinn, but people didn't really love the movie as a whole. Wonder Woman was the first movie in the series and in the order that kind of really did well financially and critically and pleased audiences. It wasn't perfect, but it was probably the best at the time. Justice League dropped the ball big time. Aquaman made $1 billion. Everybody seems to walk out of Aquaman saying it was fun. People love Momoa, so they had that down right. And then they have Shazam with Zachary Levi, which dropped a couple months ago, which I personally love Shazam. I thought it was perfect. I've seen people say they weren't really a fan of it, but I thought for what the character is, if you know the character Shazam, it was pretty damn good. So anyways, now they're saying this Batman is not going to be a part of that. And, for me as a fan personally, seeing what Marvel's done, and I don't want to compare it to, because I don't want to get into the Marvel versus DC war, because it's stupid. It's dumb. There's no war. If we should want both companies to make good movies, because the more that these companies make good movies, the more we're going to see, and it's a shame, because the DC has so many rich characters that it's sad that Warner Brothers has kind of dropped the ball with these characters a bit, and we haven't really seen them really hit their stride. You watched Endgame, it started all the way with Iron Man and ends with Endgame, this giant story they told over 22 movies or whatever it is, and you're like, wow, this is the blueprint, but Warner Brothers was so worried about, they didn't want to do the Disney thing, they didn't want to do the Marvel thing, they wanted to be opposite, and they rushed into things, and they kind of lost control. They didn't trust anybody with a vision. They tell Zack Snyder to make his vision, but then, the executives start picking apart things, and there's a lot of behind-the-scenes dramas that really, I think, ruin these movies, and that is true for Justice League. I think that they forced Zack out. I think Zack Snyder had personal problems too, which he said he left for, but I think Warner Bros. Wanted him out anyways, and they bring in Josh Whedon, and it just felt like there was so many people, like, creating this, and you didn't have this direct kind of coherent vision, and that's frustrating to me as a DC fan, because I think these characters are iconic, and in my opinion, if you go back 15 years ago, I'm sorry, there's nobody who wants to see an Avengers movie more than a Justice League movie. Sorry, average people. 15 years ago, people I knew growing up with, they loved Justice League. Nobody, listen, outside of hardcore Marvel fans for comic books, if you think about Iron Man and Thor and Captain America, these are B, C-list heroes. They weren't the X-Men, they weren't Spider-Man, the Incredible Hulk, I'll give you that, but they weren't the Fantastic. Those are the big guns for Marvel. These guys were secondary characters, and they made a universe about them, and now they're some of the most popular characters in the world. And people, I was very emotional when Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark died, or Iron Man died. I'm thinking, damn, if that had been Batman, I would have been lost. I would have lost it. And I think Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, these are iconic characters. The Flash, Green Lantern, Aquaman. Now, these are so much potential, and it's just sad that they haven't really even, to me, grazed the surface of this potential yet. They really haven't even got the ground running, and now they're starting to veer away from the connected universe and kind of go into an Elseworlds type of format. Elseworlds is a term in DC Comics where there are stories set outside of the current continuity. They're like kind of one-off stories. For example, there's a story called Superman Red Sun, where he ends up crash landing in Russia, the Soviet Union, instead of Kansas in America. And it's a story about Superman growing up in the Soviet Union versus America. It's a good story. It's an Elseworld story. They have these stories, so now they're trying to do that. And I think in their movies, they label worlds of DC. Everybody's gonna be kind of in their own world. It seems like the Joker movie coming out with Joaquin Phoenix in October. That's a one-off story that's not gonna be connected to any Batman, any other movie. It's just gonna be just Joaquin Phoenix Joker in this one film, and then boom, done. That's it. Out of the way. And I like the idea because you're still using your characters, and you're giving your audiences multiple possible versions of these characters, which is cool. But tell me you don't want to see Batman play with the Flash in a movie, or interact with Wonder Woman again. It's just it's a bit frustrating because I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what's going to be main continuity. Aquaman and Shazam both played it fast and loose with the continuity that they set. Aquaman was even more loose with it. They mentioned Justice League and Steppenwolf, but they really didn't mention anything else. Shazam had plenty of Easter eggs towards the previous movies. They had bullets from Batman vs Superman. They even had Superman show up in the end credit scene minus the head, because Henry Cavill's in a contract dispute with Warner Bros. Right now. But they had that was the Man of Steel suit that Superman was wearing in the end of Shazam. So it's like, all right, is this still continuing? You know, and Wonder Woman is in that thing too, but her next movie is going to be set in the past. Her first movie is set in World War One, and her sequel is coming out next year, is going to be set in 1984. So she's not even in present timeline. So only Aquaman and Shazam are in present timeline. And I'm like, okay, what else is going to happen? There's no news on Superman. I mean, they're also making the Birds of Prey in the... this is a long title. Birds of Prey in the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn's in the movie too. And I'm assuming that Birds of Prey is set in the same continuity because Margot Robbie's Harley Quinn was in Suicide Squad and interacted with Batman. So I assume that this is still part of the continuity. Like I said, Joker's on his own thing. Birds of Prey is going to be, I think, in the same continuity. Wonder Woman's in the same continuity, but in the past. So where does Pattinson's and Reeves' Batman trilogy fit? That's my question. I've heard rumors that it's a prequel. I've heard rumors that it's going to be set in the 90s or early 2000s, which, okay, cool, I guess. Personally, for me, if it was up to me, if they had given me the chance, if they wanted, if Affleck's done, okay, Affleck's gone, and you wanted to redo Batman, you want to retool it, you want to soft reboot it, for me, I would just put it in current time, focus it as just a Batman story in Gotham. You don't really have to really mention anything else in the DC. Maybe some of the small, like, Easter egg type stuff, but nothing major, so you're not really attached to anything. But, keep it somewhat in today's time. Make a movie. If it's successful and does really well, make a sequel. And if that does well, you can always write him in to the story. I do think that if we ever see a Justice League film again, it's going to be years off. We're not going to see it for a while. Because I think right now they're just trying so hard to kind of get some momentum. And they have a little bit right now. They have a little bit of momentum right now with Aquaman and Shazam back to back. They do have some momentum. I mean, Aquaman made $1 billion, and Shazam did pretty well too. So they have momentum now. And so now the next film up will be the Joker movie, which is something, again, alone on its own. So I really wish I knew what they were doing at Warner Brothers, because I don't know what they're doing over there, and it's killing me what they're doing with these DC characters, and not in everything, just in film. I mean, animation, they're still doing very, very well. I watched these 2 recently animated movies recently, Batman vs. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which is dope, and I watched Justice League vs. Fatal 5, which is another good one. So they're doing good in animation. TV, they're killing. They're doing really well. The Arrowverse, Arrow, Flash, Supergirl, Legends of Tomorrow, now Batwoman. They've been always done well, especially with their crossovers. They do a really good job with that. That's a universe, a cinematic universe. And then you have the DC streaming channel, which has Titans, Doom Patrol, and Swamp Thing. They just actually announced today that Swamp Thing is going to be canceled, but that's a story for another day. But Doom Patrol was great. Titans was really good. So they're doing good in other facets, and they're even doing good in some movies. I just wish they can get their planning together for these DC films and really make it count. Because now, if you go on, continue these stories in the main, because they obviously love Gal Gadot as Wonder Woman, and Zachary Levi as Shazam, and Momoa as Aquaman. So you have these 3 characters, these 3 actors, these 3 franchises they want to keep building with, right? But everything else is up in the air. The Flash movie is in permanent limbo. Superman movie is in limbo because they still want Henry Cavill, but they're in contract disputes, so you have no idea what's going to happen with that. The Green Lantern movie is supposed to come out next year, but we have no idea what's going on with that. And then you have Batman, and now you recasted him, but now it's being recasted, and you're telling me that it might not be part of the universe? So it's like, what's your plan? So I think maybe their best bet is to maybe just keep the 3 I mentioned, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Shazam, in the same continuity. Make the Battison Reeves Batman film in present day, but leave it as a Gotham-focused story. It doesn't need to have story parts and plot points that will lead you to another movie or whatever else. Let it be just focused on a night in Gotham, and he's trying to solve a crime, and he's encountering his other things. And if the movie does well and is good, and Pattinson's good, and Reeves does a good job with it, and it clicks on all cylinders, you can make a sequel. You know, and because, you know, Aquaman 2 is not coming out till 2022. So realistically, if a Batman's coming out in 2021, you can make another one in 2023 every other year, and then by the time we get to 2025, say, you know, which is 6 years from now, you could arguably, if you do things right with these movies and these characters, if you get a Flash movie off the ground, if you get a Green Lantern movie off the ground, if Wonder Woman and Aquaman and Shazam are still hitting on their high points, you can always rewrite them in at a later point. It's not complicated. They have great writers at DC and at Warner Brothers. Put these people together, figure something out, man. Marvel has laid the blueprint there. It's there for you guys. And I think they just got to try to figure out where they're at right now, how do we get to that? You know, stop trying to be so anti-Marvel and just start being true to your characters. Be true to your characters. Make good movies about your characters. Build them up. And then say, okay, now how do we bring them together? Because it's possible. It's comic book lore. You can do anything you want. And honestly, I mean, people come back from dead. There's people who are celestial beings and all kinds of crazy stuff. It's comic books. There's a lot of, you know, give and take. You can do a lot with this stuff. So I really think they should really try hard to really focus on just making the patents. I hopefully we get an official announcement at some point. Gal Gadot, who plays Wonder Woman, said that Warner Bros. Will not be at Comic-Con at all this year. So that's kind of a bummer because we're not going to get any real news on any of this stuff. But maybe when in the fall time, you know, whatever, we, you know, just get some news about this stuff. What's going to happen going forward with these characters, man? Like, is Jared Leto still going to be the Joker in the main continuity? Like, what's happening with this stuff, man? You know, there's supposed to be a Gotham City Sirens movie. That's Catwoman, Poison Ivy, and Harley Quinn, which is why I think Catwoman might be in the Batman movie to set that up. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, you know, that's the thing. You know, I don't really know what they're doing or how they're gonna go about it. But if it was up to me, I would say let's just make a good Batman movie. Let's make a good detective-driven Batman film. Let's get Batman off the ground. Let's focus it in his world in Gotham. And then if you want to, you know, put him in the sandbox with the other kids, then you do it. Then you figure out how to go about it. But I think right now they should just focus on making their movies for these characters fit in their worlds. Like Aquaman was very deep in Atlantis. It was all over the place. It was a story mainly about the ocean. Shazam was a lot of magic and a lot of his world. Do the same thing with Batman. Do the same with Wonder Woman. Keep doing that, and then, you know, maybe you can loosely let it exist in the same world, but not really try so hard to make it feel forced. Just let it come naturally. Let's make good movies and let it come naturally. But all in all, guys, I rambled enough for this one too tonight. I hope you guys watch these videos full through. I really enjoy just kind of letting loose and kind of just going and talking, and not worrying about the length of the video too much. Like I said, Troy's Thursday Talks podcast coming soon. Once I figure out how to really set all that up, you guys will be informed. But for now, I'm going to try to do these once a week, Thursday nights, around between 6 and 8 p.m. These posts will come up, and it'll be different kind of topics. Like I said, the first one was political stuff. This one was comic book movie stuff, Batman. So who knows what next week will be. But thank you for tuning in. Thank you for subscribing. If you stuck with me, I appreciate you. Thank you. If you're brand new, I appreciate you. Thank you. Hope you guys enjoyed these videos tonight. And going forward, man, I'm just trying to get more content up to you guys as much as I can weekly. Expect another Troy's Top 5 come out this weekend. We're midway through the year, so I'm thinking about doing a movie list for films coming out for the rest of the year. Anyways, guys, thank you so much. I appreciate it, man. Have a great night. See ya.